give you some time to look over your stuff because I know you don't really do this talking thing. So.
Great practice.
Oh, I like this excerpt. Here, you want to keep that just in case you want to refer back to it. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. When I first looked at this excerpt, it made me really think of patriarchy and how basically a woman depends on a man for their social standards, economic standards. For example, if Miller, when she was in America, she relied on a man. She relied on her man for opportunities such as blame, hurt. Even in Nigeria with Obenge, she kind of depended on him. Especially with Hurt, he took her places that she'd never been before. He helped her out when she needed it. So she felt as though it was like she didn't have to work for anything. She had everything handed to her. One of the main examples in Nigeria, how many of the women in Nigeria, they depended on a man for everything. Like when she came back to Nigeria, her friend Ray Anundo, she was kind of, she was kind of like shocked, saying, "Oh, why are all these?" When she comes back, all these women are marrying men. All these women are marrying rich men, but she had like she never done it. She never done it before. Like she acted like her friend was messing with a married man. He was buying her material things, and FML looked at her some type of way, but she acted like she didn't do the same thing in America. One of the main examples of that is Auntie Uju, because she married the general. She really didn't have a real connection with the general. She was looking for money, housing, clothing, but she never really had that true connection. Many of the women, they never married a man they truly loved or had a connection with. They kind of just, oh, I need him because he helps fit my economic standards, so I'm gonna marry him, but they really have no true connection with them. They kind of give up themselves, like it's like sexual, like they sell their bodies and using sexual stuff for to get what they need. Auntie Israel, she married the general just so she can get ahead, but then when he left, she was stuck. She had nowhere to go, and she was just left in the dust. And that kind of can relate back to now, because I see a lot of cases where many women, they're pretty beautiful, and they marry a man who's an old rich guy just because he has money, but really doesn't have a connection. It's a lot of cases, celebrities, even people who are not celebrities, because I know a few people like that. And they marry somebody who they don't even, they marry somebody they are not even in touch with, just so that they can get ahead. And that can kind of tell you, like, now, sex sells, and is really like false love. People really are not getting relationships because they truly love somebody, or just in relationships because of economic standards. And they really showed a lot. They really showed a lot in the book. And back to Efemelu, she kept on saying how a lot of these women were not right of being with men because of money, but she was doing it herself. And sometimes it's kind of bad, but sometimes women do that because they have nowhere else to go. Would you rather go with the man you have a true connection with, who doesn't have money, or be with the man who can provide for you? A lot of women do that because they have nowhere to go. Efemelu, she and throughout the novel, it really kind of made me think, like, is that where, like, because a lot of times I see people walking around and I think, well, wealthy couples I kind of look like they really like, now when I look at them, I look like, do they really love each other, or is it just for economic standards? But the more and more I look at those, like celebrities and stuff, I look at it like, I don't see relationships as truly real anymore. I see it as people just trying to get by and using other people's money for what they have, because it's not just a woman's fault. The man kind of do it. The man kind of are guilty as well, because they know that if they give the woman what they want, they get what they want in return. So it's kind of double-sided. And if Amela,
Stop right there. All right. So your passage dealt a lot with the notion that, one, there are specific roles, not only in Nigeria but abroad, where women are clearly, kind of relegated to one space and one sphere and men another, right? And as you talked about patriarchy, which is kind of indicative to the feminist criticism lens, but I want to shift your focus a little bit and take it into the Marxist criticism lens, which looks at the way in which people's economics places them in a hierarchy in society, right? So if you were reflecting on the excerpt that I gave you using that lens, what are some things that you feel like that particular excerpt kind of reinforces about economics and people's space?
This actually really reinforces on economics is that the more money you have, the better people look at you. It doesn't really matter if you were the biggest jerk in the room. You have the most money, then a person would look at you as the person would look at you greater than a person who had no money, was one of the nicest people in their life. Money basically rules the world. And in that space, in Nigeria, many people, especially the women, they didn't come from wealthy families, and they couldn't really provide for their family, so they had to go towards a rich man. They had to go towards a rich man to get what they needed.
So another thing you talked about a great deal when you were speaking was the love, right, and the lack thereof, so to speak. How, I think one of the statements was that girls don't marry for love anymore. As you look at the theme of love, which was huge throughout the text, given that particular excerpt that you have, and then just thinking about your knowledge about the text in general, tell me about some ways that the theme of love developed in the text.
The theme of love developed with the text, especially with Efemelu and Obenze. They had to be separated from each other to actually find each other. Efemelu, she had to go through many different relationships, and had to realize that love didn't come from what somebody had or if they can provide for it. It came from who fit you the best. And Auntie Uju, when she being the general, he really didn't connect with her, but he had the money. When she came to America, the first man she met, she really didn't connect with him, but she moved out of town just to be with him, because to a place that her son or her didn't really fit in. Her son, he was in school, he didn't really fit in, but she did it because she needed the money. But she finally met a man that treated her right, who respected her. And I think the theme of love developed because they had to really figure out that love didn't come from what somebody had. Even though love didn't really come from what somebody had, but it came from who can really care for you. And Efemelu, she realized that the relationship didn't work out because they didn't really have a connection with her. And love comes with connections, getting to know people, not just for what they have.
Okay. So it began as something that was kind of a, if I'm hearing you correctly, I just want to clarify, something where people, it's more of a negotiation, and ended as something where people kind of realized that there was compromise is necessary. Am I hearing that correct? Okay. All right. That is actually it. The buzzer is about to sound. You can send in Maya, please.